Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? Today is January the 12th, 2024, and today I am rocking my new microphone here. If you could hear that little tap on there, I hope that the audio ends up being a little bit better with the microphone. This is going to enable me to do a lot more videos, different manners. Just so I won't have to sit so close to the video camera, and like I said, I can step away from it. When I really needed this in order to be able to do my cooking videos, and in order to, I wanted to do that shake and all that kind of stuff, and I just knew it was going to be horrible audio with me trying to do that and not having a microphone, but I finally got it. And I got my new tripod too as well. Today I'm still using the same tripod that my son gave me. I'm just sitting it here on the tabletop, but I needed that other tripod as well for those other filming methods that I'm going to be doing as well later on. Quick reminder, Sunday, this coming up Sunday is going to be the live video, and I really hope to see you guys there. It's going to be at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Would love for as many people to come in and join as possible. I'm just gonna let that go for, as long as it's like organically possible. I'm not gonna cut it off at any specific time. Just whenever I feel like it's kind of died off a little bit, then I'll just go ahead and say okay. But it'll at least go for about an hour, maybe a little bit longer. It just really just depends on how many people come in, excuse me, and all that kind of good stuff. So, if we've got a ton of people in there, and there's a bunch of questions and all that kind of stuff, I'm just going to keep it going. I mean, I really don't have a whole lot going on Sunday. I do have my wife's father, and well, my father-in-law, my wife's father is coming down from West Virginia this weekend. So he'll be here, staying with us over the weekend. I'm not sure how he might be here till Monday, but either way, he's coming down, so they will be here, but that's neither here nor there. I'm still gonna take the time to do the live. I wasn't even actually aware it was coming down here until last night. My wife informed me that they were coming, so I had already planned the live, and it is what it is now, and I'm gonna stick with it. So we're still doing the live video on Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and I would love to see you guys there. So be on the lookout for that, and I'm gonna post that up on the social medias as a reminder and all that good stuff as well. So the video for today, what I want to talk about today is, should I quit or cut back on my drinking? And this also goes for, I've quit drinking, now am I safe to go back to drinking? And the quick answer to that is no. And once again, this is all my opinion. And let me preface all of this with saying that anything I say in here, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not affiliated with any medical facilities or anything like that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you any advice. I'm just basically telling you from my experience and what I think. You do with it what you will. But my opinion on it would be no. And I'm just going to give you a couple of reasons why here. First and foremost, there's been a recent study that was done by the World Health Organization. There was a report that came out at the beginning of last year where the HWO said that basically the World Health Organization has published a statement in the Lancet Public Health. When it comes to alcohol consumption, there is no safe amount that does not affect health. So this is coming from the World Health Organization. And I know there's some people out there that say, oh gosh, the World Health Organization, all the stuff that happened with, COVID and all that good stuff. I mean, I get it. But still, there's a lot of very smart people that are involved in that. And, just from the research that they've done, it just said there's no safe level to it. I mean, it doesn't matter how much. Alcohol is a group 1 carcinogen. It sits it's the highest risk category for cancer. And it also sits in the same category as asbestos, radiation, and tobacco. So just take that in for a second. I mean, alcohol is just as carcinogenic, or however you say it. It causes cancer, I guess, just as easily as tobacco does, or radiation. And that's saying something right there. Alcohol causes 7 types of cancer, including the most common types such as bowel and female breast cancer as well. And the latest available data indicates that half of all alcohol-related cancers in the WHO European region are caused by light to moderate drinking. Less than 1.5 liters of wine, 3.5 liters of beer, and 450 milliliters of spirits or liquor in 1 week. And that's really not a lot if you really think about it. 1.5 liters, what's that, like a bottle and a half of wine? 3.5 liters of beer, you're just a half of a liter short of a gallon. I mean, that's still not much. There's 4 quarts in a gallon, and there's that's a quart is 32 ounces, so that's 2 pints per quart, so that's like 7 beers a week right there. And then 450 milliliters of liquor is hardly anything at all. I mean, we're talking like 1 tall glass of liquor. We're not talking about exorbitant amounts of alcohol here. It's just very small amounts, and they can be very risky to your health and can cause cancer just from small amounts. So if you're still on the fence and you don't know what to do, I just wouldn't do it. Because there are a ton of videos on YouTube. Let's just say YouTube, for instance. On YouTube, just if you type in alcoholism and just go and look at some of the stories that are on there, just go on there and watch some of the ones of some celebrities that are talking about it. And there are so many videos. There is a TED Talk with a woman that talks about, she played on a television show, and I can't quite remember which one it was, but it was a long running show. Gosh, I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to pin it in one of the comments. But if you look it up, I'll actually look up her video and link it in the pinned comment at the top of the video of her TED Talk. But she goes on to talk about how she used a certain substance, or I can't remember what it was, that helped her to stop drinking. But she talks about in the video how she had a drinking problem for quite some time, and basically she had quit, and I'd gone a stretch of time without drinking, and then told herself, which we all tell ourselves this at some point, that okay, well, I quit drinking, I'm strong enough to do that, so now I think I can manage to drink little bits, so I can have a glass of wine with my dinner, and I could just have a glass of wine on the weekend, or I could have a 6-pack over the weekend, whatever it may be. And what she found is that she did that, and then it got just 10 times worse on the back end. And there are so many people out there that tell that same exact story. They quit drinking, they thought they had it under control, they told themselves, I'm strong enough, I have enough will, I quit drinking, so now I can afford myself a glass of wine here and there, a beer here and there, or a nice, glass of liquor once in a while. And that's just not the way it works out, because like she said, what ended up happening with her was she had that one glass, she went home that night after dinner and was proud of herself. She said, look at me, I did it. I drank 1 glass, everything's good to go. Well, what ended up happening was, the next night, she went out for dinner again. Well, this time she had 2. The next night she went out, she had 3. Well, by the end of the week, she was right back at square one, doing the same exact thing that she was doing before she quit the last time. And actually, her alcohol consumption got worse. And there are so many people out there who tell that same exact story of quitting, thinking they have it under control, going back to just having 1 or 2, and it slowly progressed. right back, and they are right back where they were before or worse. And I'm telling you, I've done it myself. I did it a whole bunch of times. From my experience, it never worked for me. You know, do what you will, but I'm just here to say that from my experience and from a lot of other people's experiences of stories that I've heard, it just never works out. Um, you know, and on top of it as well, you know, and I've talked about this in previous videos too, is that drinking also leads to other things. And, you know, it might be an innocent night where you go out, have a glass of wine or a beer. But what happens when you have that one glass of wine or a beer, and then it turns to two or three, and then you start feeling really good, and the next thing you know, you find yourself at a bar. You know, you end up at some bar later on, and you're highly intoxicated. And a lot of times, what ends up happening in those kinds of places is next thing you know, somebody bumps into you and says, "Hey, I've got I've got some cocaine, man. You want to go in the bathroom and do something with me? Or I've got these pills. You want to take this?" Or whatever it may be. And when you're drinking, your inhibitions are gone. And you are so much more likely to take an illicit substance after you've been drinking opposed to when you haven't been. So why would you want to put yourself in those shoes to where, you know, that you're just opening up a door and you're creating an environment where the possibilities of you taking an illicit substance or something like that, or having a sexual encounter that you didn't want to have, or having unprotected sex that you didn't want to have, or I mean, the list just goes on and on and on, or an unwanted pregnancy or anything like that. Because, like I said, when you're drinking, your inhibitions are out of there. And we just don't think when we're drinking. And it's whatever feels good in the moment when you're intoxicated. And I can speak from my own experience of tons of stupid stuff that I would have never have done if I hadn't been drinking. I just would have never have done them. I was just having this conversation with my wife last night. We were laying in the bed and talking with each other, and you know, just kind of just talking about stuff. And we've been kind of arguing the past couple of days, and it hasn't really been anything serious. It was, I took the puppy out for a walk a couple of days ago. It's one of the reasons that I've been kind of stressed out a little bit lately. I took our puppy on a walk the other day. I was just trying to be nice and take the dog for a walk before they got home. And we had those really bad windstorms out here over the past weekend. And I walked down to the building where I showed you guys where my Jeep and everything's parked at. And my kids both have kayaks down there. And the wind had blown both the kayaks over. And when I went to pick one of them up, I guess it scared the dog. And when I went to pick it up, it banged up against the building. It scared her. She pulled like against the collar, and the collar had gotten loose. I just wasn't paying attention. And next thing you know, the collar slipped right off her neck. Well, the dog took off running. And I tried to get her, and of course, you know how puppies can be, and they think that it's a game, and she kept running away from me, and I just did not have the energy to go after her. And I called my wife, and I told her, "Hey, the dog got away. I don't know what to do." And she said, "You know, where is she?" And I told her, "She's all, you know, halfway down the driveway right now, and I'm not going to continue to chase her any further because it's only going to drive her out to the main road, and I don't want her to go up there." My wife got upset with me because I wouldn't go after the dog anymore. I didn't take the time to tell her, "Hey, look, I'm just too tired to continue to keep following the dog, and I don't want to push her out into the road." And I told her, I said, I'm not chasing her anymore. And the point was, I was just going to come back to the house and let the dog come home. But she got rather upset with me, and I mean, it's kind of a long story, but she got upset, hung up on me, and then I've just been kind of upset with her the past couple of days. And we made up, and we were talking last night about it, and we're just talking about that and some other things. And you know, I was just explaining it to her because I spoke in the video yesterday about how when my wife and I get into an argument, I don't stick around the house anymore. I'll just leave for a little bit and come back. And I had done that the night before. I just left for a little while, and I came back home. And I did the same thing yesterday. I just left for a little bit because I didn't want to argue with her. And I just felt like things just weren't cooled off enough between the two of us yet, and I just felt like we just needed a little bit more time before we talked. So I left and went to a friend of mine's house. Well, I actually went to my brother's house last night and had dinner with him. And then I stopped by a friend of mine's house, and I got home, I guess, about 9:30 or something. And like I said, we were just laying there talking with each other. And I was telling her, back in the day when I would drink, this would have been a whole different scenario. I would have fought with her. I would have done it in front of the kids. And and I explained to her why I left and why I wasn't here, because she was upset with me because I wasn't home. And and then she reminded me, the kids, they've been asking where you are and all that stuff, and I didn't want to go into all the details with them and tell them. And I've actually talked with them since and told them that their mom and I just got into an argument over the puppy, and it was not serious at all. It was just really a stupid argument. But I compared from then to now, and just my reactions, just everyday situations, is so much different now that I don't drink. And why would you want to go back to that if you have stopped? Because you know as well as I do, for any of you out there who have stopped drinking, how much better your life has been since you've quit. And why would you want to just to start all over again? It doesn't really make any sense. And then on top of it, then you have to start all over from square one, and go all back over again. You've relapsed, and then you're gonna feel bad about yourself and all that kind of stuff. So my best advice, if I was gonna give it to myself, would be just don't start back. There is no control. If you've had a problem with it in the past, you're going to have a problem with it again in the future. And I would just say, just don't touch it. Just leave it alone. Not for any other reason than for you. And just love yourself enough not to go back to the bottle. I've said, a bunch of times that I couldn't quit drinking until I loved myself. And that's something that, you'll have to do for you. I had to love me before I could actually quit. And I haven't gone through all these trials and tribulations and all this stuff just to start all over again. Not to mention the doctors have told me that if I ever touch it again, that's pretty much it. They told me one drink and I'm a goner. And I'm just not going to do it for that reason. But, for any of you out there who are watching, and you're just, you don't know if you want to quit, you're on the fence about it. Just for the reasons I just spoke about, just for the carcinogenic, how carcinogenic alcohol is, it's just not worth it in itself, on top of all the other problems that it causes. So I think that's about it for today, guys. I just want to end this video on this note. I hope there's not a whole lot of wind noise with this microphone. I guess I'll find out here in a minute. But just to end on this note, that if you have stopped, and you have already accomplished so much by just doing that alone, and there's just no point in going back over. When you relapse, for any of you guys who have relapsed out there, because I've done it, when you do relapse, every time I did, just like I was talking about earlier, that every time I relapsed, my alcohol consumption got worse. And then I had to try or attempt to quit drinking again on top of even more alcohol consumption, which just made it 10 times harder because I was consuming just that much more, which made the withdrawals that much worse. Just every part of it was that much worse. So on that note, if you are just thinking about quitting, see a doctor, talk with them first. But I would just stop. But if you have quit and you're considering maybe that you think you might be able to handle it, don't do it, because it's just not worth it. Just leave it alone. You've already moved past that now, and leave sleeping dogs lie. Just don't go back and bother it. There's no point in doing it. You're not going to be happy with yourself in the end of it all. Most likely it's going to end up being, just like I said, you're going to end up drinking a heck of a lot more on the back end. And then on top of it, you know, the risk of cancer from the consumption of alcohol is just so high. And why put yourself in that predicament? Not including all the other health complications that come along with alcohol as well. I mean, like I said, I have chronic pancreatitis, I have cirrhosis of the liver, I've got blood clots in my spleen, my splenic vein. I've had to have 2 TIPS procedures done on my liver. I've got stents in my liver. I have, gosh, I can't remember what it's called. But it's basically like almost like a plastic artery that they had to put in there. And the name escapes me right at this moment. I'll try to remember what that's called. But I just had so many health complications, not to mention the ascites, the edema that I've had to deal with. All the medications that I have to take, the medical bills that I have to deal with now, it's just not worth it. It really isn't. And then on top of it, just, you know, your loved ones aren't going to be happy with you. They're not going to like it. So just don't. Just leave it alone. It's gone. You've left it. It's in the past, and just move forward to the future. And just think about all the great and positive things that you're going to do with yourself since you don't drink anymore. So with that said, guys, I think that's it for today's video. I just wanted to talk about that for anybody out there that's thinking about those two things, you know, either stopping and or going back and thinking that they can control it, because the possibility of it getting so much worse is so high. Don't forget about the live video that will be coming up on Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That is this Sunday. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I make these videos every single day. There hasn't been one day in the past, I think like month and a half, that I have skipped a video. There's been one out every single day. I talk about liver disease, pancreatitis, you know, health-related issues with alcohol. You know, like this video today, I mean, it's basically all alcohol-related, and some other topics that I go over. And it's really a lot of what you guys want to see. I was talking with somebody in the comments today, and I was talking about how I was looking at some numbers, some statistics the other day about how much, how liver disease has increased so much since COVID has happened. I'm going to make a video about that here shortly in the next few days. I've got to get all the statistics and everything together. I think that's a very interesting topic because it has. Alcohol-related illnesses have risen since COVID like 25%, and that is a huge number. And I just want to touch on that and make a video on it and give you guys all those numbers just so you guys know them. But that's really scary, you know, because a lot of people during COVID went to drinking really heavily during that period of time. And I'll get into all the reasons why and all that kind of stuff in that video. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I will be making a video about that in the next few days. The video that I'm doing with the hospital will be up over the weekend. I'll have that up. And like I said, that live video is going to be on Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for all the great comments that you guys gave me yesterday referring to the video part 2. Man, you guys are so awesome. So many great comments. And that video didn't get a whole lot of views, but man, tons and tons of comments. So for all of you out there that watched and replied to the video, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you. All the ones of you have reached out to me on social media, sent me messages on there. Thank you so much. You guys are so sweet, so kind. I really appreciate all of you, and I really do love every single one of you out there. So with that said, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here for today. Y'all have a great, safe weekend and a nice Friday night. I love you all. Until tomorrow. Bye-bye.